And I can tell you, we need not generalize. There are some discos that have actually tried compared to others.
The discos,
yes,
do. Because it's the job of a disco to make their job efficient, which means they need to change all their lights.
That is it.
They need to change their transformers and so forth.
The lines and all that.
I am yet to see a particular disco that has brought a new transformer. It is my colleagues over here who continue to buy transformers and use their constituency funding to give transformers to discos.
Thank you very much.
So I want to know what exactly is the responsibility
of the Power Ministry.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Like I told you, the oversight, general oversight of the sector, all segments, generation, transmission, distribution, renewable energy, energy transition, and so on and so forth. But there are agencies that handle this. When it comes to discos, the regulatory agency is actually NERC. It's NERC. That's the Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Company. And the discos are also owned 60% by private investors. Remember, sir, 40% is owned by government. So
what we're giving is our own part of government.
We are intervening as a part owner of the disco because the responsibility still falls on government. So it's intervention. It's intervention. The primary responsibility of revamping or strengthening distribution infrastructures lie on the discos primarily. But we know what we have experienced since 2013 when we privatized the distribution segment. The government cannot just continue to fold its arms when these people have refused to invest. So what we are doing is to play our part as a part owner of the discos, 40%, and again, social responsibility on government for intervention in sectors.
I need to let you know,
so that is what
Mr. Minister, I need to let you know, actually has given a responsibility to this committee,
yes,
to look into the contracts of the different discos, whether to scrap them and take them back by government. If the government is spending everything on it, so what is it that they're doing? I don't know what your own opinion is.
Yeah, my opinion is that it is, and I can tell you, we need not generalize. There are some discos that have actually tried compared to others in terms of injecting new transformers, in terms of erecting new poles, new lines, and all that. And the personal penetration has actually improved for some discos, while others have been adamant in doing this. So I agree with you, Mr. Chairman, that we should take each of the discos on a name-by-name basis and not generalize. When we look at the contract they signed and what they have done so far, then we know how to treat each of the discos one after the other.
Okay, Minister, this is not what we came.
Let me
There's another meeting that we're going to convene for this particular purpose, yes, of the Senate.
Yes.
So you should also be ready to come with all the discos.
Okay.
So that we will see whether we can trash that.
Okay, we can fix a date for that. I will be ready to come with them so that we discuss it. Because I listened to the order was given that the discos should be called together with the ministry for us to meet with the Senate committee. We are ready to do that since it's in line of our duty. Then, to round up, the funding issues I've mentioned, the policy infrastructure, huge metering gap, which I addressed, then the tariff issues and migration to Band A. With due respect, sir, I want to state before this committee that with the benefit of hindsight, for those that are paying the cost-reflected tariff, I can say to the tune of about 90% compliance, a lot of them have confirmed the benefit of being in Band A. It cannot be 100%, we understand, but we are working on the remaining 10 or 15%. The majority are confirmed. So what we are saying is that instead of introducing or increasing the tariff, what we should be doing is to migrate more and more customers to the Band A by ensuring that the infrastructures are perfect and they are working well. And NAC is providing the oversight for that. Then 2025 budget. Let me just finish this presentation so that we can. We should respect the answers. 2025 budget, yes. If you look at our budget achievement for 2024, the current is about 85% average achievement. Salaries have been paid, overheads have been incurred, and we have about 25% budget achievement. For capital expenditure, I think budget achievement is about 60 to 65% to date. And we believe that between now and June 2025, we should be able to achieve close to 80 to 90% of this. The cutoff is June 2025 now.
Minister, we're going to dispute that.
Okay. Yes. The agencies will talk to budget achievement. Thank you very much. So, 2025 budget summary. This will not take time. If you look at our budget, 2025 budget, the total budget that we have here, I will restrict it to capital expenditure, but the current is just mundane. And we all know the components of recorded expenditure, which is salaries and overheads, administrative overheads. But for capital expenditure, the total for the sector, which is the ministry and its agencies, is about 2 trillion naira. Out of the 2 trillion naira, overhead and personnel, which is salary, is about 10.5 billion. But out of these 2.086 trillion, you see that loan repayment is about 80% of this. So I will go to the federal ministry, and you see that out of 1.189 trillion for the federal ministry as the capital budget, on page 44, sir. 44. The first one I mentioned was on page 51, which is the summary for the power sector. That's the ministry and the agency. But let's go to page 44, where you have the last page of the summary for the capital expenditure for the ministry. 1.189 trillion, out of which 810 billion is for loan repayment. That is 585 billion and 225 billion. That's the multilateral bilateral tight loan for the power sector is called, that's PPSRO. And the multilateral bilateral tight loan, Nigeria distribution sector recovery. That's this rep program, this rep. So 810 billion is for loan repayment. Including plus that is a 150 billion that yes, 150 now, page 43 now. 43, 150 billion that is meant to be transferred to FDM Power. That's the Presidential Power Initiatives. That's our own counterparty contribution to the Siemens project. So 150 plus 810, that is 960 billion. Taken out of 1.189, leaving 229 billion for the power ministry. So out of these 229 billion, 29 billion out of it is for various ongoing projects in the power ministry. That's from page 39. From page 33. From page 33 to page 43. They are all appropriation for ongoing projects in the power sector, 29 billion. So I will not, waste time on that, because we know that they have brought forward projects. So, but I will try to explain the 200 billion additional, which are for the new projects on page 43, based on proposed activities for the power sector. Number one is item 127 on page 43, which is the Federal Ministry intervention for completion of TCN uncompleted priority projects. This is a Federal Ministry of Power intervention in TCN activities. If you remember the last time I was here, I said we have over 100 of uncompleted TCN projects. Some are 95, some are 96% complete, some are 20%. TCN, non-appropriation for TCN is a major problem we want to register at this session. With all the noise, all the hues and cries about instability of the grid age, grid fragility, grid unreliability, there is no ₦1 appropriation for TCN. I think we need to walk the talk. We expect TCN to fund its programs through its internally generated revenue, which has been dwindling over the years, based on the fact that we do not want to increase the tariff. Because if you pay TCN, it goes into the tariff setting. So I believe this committee should help us look into this, appropriating fund for TCN. Be that as it may, we have decided to, from the ministry, do a little bit of our own part by completing between 8 and 12 of the outstanding projects, which is why we appropriated this 25 billion. In fact, it was more than this. It was cut down. We wanted about 100 billion to do something on this TCN project. So that's the number one. The number two is this also in an attempt to strengthen grid stability. Number two here is the distribution segment. Yes, this is actually the chairman's concern about the role that government is playing in distribution. Today, if you go to any of, as legislators, as the representative of the people, when you get to your constituency, the first thing they will tell you is, our transformer is down, our transformer is not working, our cables are not working, our poles are falling, and all that. We believe that, irrespective of the activities of the discourse, let us also, as responsible representative of the people, let us buy as many transformers as possible and distribute to these communities, which is why we have budgeted 36 billion for distribution segment intervention, for transformers, cabling, polling replacement across the 6 geopolitical zones. So we want to do this. I believe that this will go down well with our August committee. It was more than this, it was also cut down. And we are appealing to you, if it can be increased through the appropriation committee, we will appreciate that. Then, the issue of rural electrification. Like I said that the 64% electrification penetration that we have, 90% is in the urban and semi-urban centers are still suffering from energy poverty. And we believe that it may be expensive to extend the grid for their benefit. So let us focus on alternative energy, which is the renewable energy. So distribution of solar home systems, rural street lighting across the 6 geopolitical zones under the Renewable Light Up Rural Areas program. We have about 30 billion budgeted. We asked for 100 billion so that can go around, but it was cut down for paucity of funds. And use your good office to increase it, we will appreciate it too. Then, we know that we have emergency intervention for distribution infrastructures, just like we are having for TCN. A lot of times that TCN infrastructures are vandalized. The restoration work is emergency. If you don't do it within 24 to 48 hours, it becomes a national issue. So, which is why we are also setting aside this 10 billion to also intervene in distribution activities of our power sector value chain. Then we have some mini hydro, mini grid, and solar home systems maintenance, where we have 80 billion. Then again, in terms of advocacy, we believe that our people need to be re-educated. They need to be reorientated to know that the power asset and national asset, and we should all jointly own it. Our people need to know that they should avoid power theft. When they see something, they must say something. Our people need to know that they must pay their bills regularly. All these need to be passed across. In addition to the little that the NOA, National Orientation Agency, has been doing, we believe that the power sector needs to do a lot of advocacy, a reorientation and re-education of our people. We are people of over 200 million strength. So we need to go to all the nooks and crannies through the social media, through the electronic media, through the print media to actually orientate and do this advocacy. So we have 8 billion budgeted for that. Then the issue of safety and security of our highways. This was actually desired by Mr. President and the entire FOC, that people should be able to travel any time of the day, be it during the day or at night. So, in conjunction with the Inspector General of Police and the Comptroller General of the Federal Road Safety Commission, we intend to collaborate to ensure that our highways are powered for security and safety. And we intend to use a couple of locations as pilots across the 6 geopolitical zones this year to ensure that we have street lighting. And not just street lighting, we have at intervals CCTV, closed circuit television, to record happenings on these roads. Not only that, we also intend to establish command and control centers at every 20 kilometers to ensure that they are properly equipped to patrol those roads, and where there's anything triggered on the CCTV, the security personnel will be there, and our people will be able to travel at any time during. This is long overdue. They want to champion it for this year. So those are the highlights of the 200 billion, which we believe that they are laudable programs that we have during this period. And again, our general oversight remains. The key drivers of the sector are the operators, the GENCOs, the transmission companies, and the DISCOs. We will not relent in providing firm oversight over these operators. And again, our regulation will also improve to ensure that these people are able to do what is expected and what is required of them in line with the contract that they have signed during the privatization of these segments. This year we are committed to ensure we have an improved sector that will service the interests of Nigeria and Nigerians, and the power sector will not remain the same again at the end of this year. Thank you so much. We are ready to take the question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the chairman of this very powerful committee. Well executed speech, and then the document itself is self-explanatory. With a comment. I just have comment in 2 areas. I agree totally with the intervention in the TCN, where you put about 25 billion. Anything that will relieve the customers, that will not allow them to pay more money, we have to do that. Because if we remove subsidy in the oil sector, at least people should see the effect in other very critical sector like power. So I'm supporting that as a good intervention. Equally, the area of the transformer where you put 30 billion, and you say it will cut across the 6 geopolitical zone, that is where I want to make a comment. You see, I've looked through the 2024 activities. Some states benefited, some don't. We are representative of the people. I'm concerned more here about my senatorial district. This year alone, I bought 24 transformers, and it's as we have not started. It's almost everywhere. So please let every state, not zone now, what is going to each zone should also go to each state, so that we have mouth to talk that we are here fighting for them. We share bandit together.
I know.
So you have to cross there frequently.
My state has to run for.
And you have to come there very frequently. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Year 2024, I made a plea, and very passionate plea. And I said for over 100 years or so that I know what Nigeria is all about. My local government, even though we are riverine, even though we produce so much to the development of Nigeria in terms of oil production, after Oloibri in 1956, in 1957, oil was also found in my local government headquarters, Oporoma, in commercial quantities. And up to today, there is no light there. In Oporoma. And so it is appalling. When I became the local government chairman in 1997, Sir Chairman, because of this, your side talk, I tried to persuade Shell, that was at the oversight, and is still there. 24 hours they have light. But when you look over to the other side, which is the local government headquarters, there was no light. And up till now, we are crippling with generators here and there. I will plead very strongly that something else be done, not just my local government, but you have to look around into places that have similar problems, so that at least we will also feel that we are part of Nigeria. The reason why there is so much restiveness in that region is because of similar things that we suffer. Please, it's a passionate appeal, so that you put this into consideration. That this your reign, let there be a change. Mr. Chairman and the Minister, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Commending you. This budget is very excellent.
Thank you, sir.
I'm sure if it is really implemented, it will make a change. So our prayers are that we hope there will be serious implementation as early as possible. The budget is laudable, but if you delay implementation before you advertise, before you do these things, the year will end. So my strong advice is that immediately the budget is approved, Honorable Minister, start the procurement process so that there will be implementation. Secondly, I will raise my case about the issue of transformers, which my chairman raised, because this issue of transformers, even though you said some states, some discourse are doing that, as far as I know, I am not aware of any discourse across the country that's buying transformers. But it will be interesting in that session if you come with details of those discourse and the number of transformers that supplied to their areas. Otherwise, the discourse generally collect money and they don't put back anything. Thirdly, this year of Ban A. I believe where I live is Ban A. I live in Asokoro. And I believe Asokoro is it not Ban A? Oh, what Ban are we?
It should be Bande.
Asokoro.
Bande.
I don't think we get 60% light. And secondly, more importantly, cables. There are cables underground. In most cases, they break down, and we use our money to fix the transformers. I don't know how many millions I spent to fix cables in my area. I don't understand. You collect money, you don't put anything back. I see some I'm not saying lies. I can give you details. And those in my area know that I spend millions to buy cables, underground cables for our area. And I'm Ban A. So I don't understand this your part. Because Asokoro must be one of the most privileged areas of this country. Is it not so? So I'm talking on behalf of people in the Sokoro area and core Sokoro area around Okos and other areas. That's why the problem is we buy cables with our money. So please, Mr. Minister, intervene. But for transformers, we raise our case, we wait for the day you will come with details of those costs and how much they spend. Otherwise, I think we'll go with the Senate wants us to do. If they come convince us, let them revert to 100% ownership back to government. Yes, it doesn't. They don't add any value so far since the privatization 2013. Is it 2013?
2013, yes.
Is there any difference between pre-2013 and post-2013 as far as power distribution and is concerned in Nigeria? There's no difference. So why do you just decide to enrich very few people at the expense of the majority? But we look for the day you come and defend them. Thank you.
You are there, sir.
Minister and St. Orange. Good afternoon, everybody. Minister, I have to commend you very highly for the eloquent presentation. It seems your appointment is the adage of a round peg in a round. You have expert knowledge of this thing, of power, but my major concern is on vandalization. I don't know whether you have different measures this year on how to overcome this vandalization. Because common knowledge tells us that if you keep doing same thing over and over again, you keep getting the same result. I have not really deeply looked at the budget to know what you have in terms of security of these power gadgets. But my proposal is that something tangible, something different, something reasonable should be done to overcome this vandalization. There has become a recurring decimal, and it's high time we did away with this. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir.
A comparison of this year and last year, there's improvement, and we are happy with it. We're happy with your allocation too, but I have one or two comments on the allocations. We are allocating a very big amount of money for provision of solar street lights, which on its own is a novelty. I agree that for the sake of security, safety of property and life, we need to put daytime to our express roads. I'm not too sure that this amount of money can do the job, especially considering the fact that almost all express roads in Nigeria are important. Lagos, Ibadan, that's, I'm sure it will be one of your catchment roads. No, I'm sure of that one. We have a lot of roads in my own zone too that are very important to me. I mean, North Central, and we are the capital. No, not Gomosho. I'm talking about the central area. I hope you give consideration to it. But I think for us to get out of this program, production of solar lights is not a nuclear science, neither is it rocket science. I don't know how we can start encouraging or investing in production of these lights.
Local patronage.
Yes, so that, I don't mean importing, so that the price can crash down considerably. But that's the only way we can survive. And we have a lot of capable people who can do this in Nigeria. Industrialists who can invest. I think we should do an encouragement, include almost all the solar components. The second area, which I a little little bit in disagreement with you is allocation of $25 billion to $5 billion to Federal Ministry intervening in the TCN uncompleted projects. Yeah, I did a small calculation, and I think what we are talking about is just $15 million. And you have said it time and time over that there are so many projects abandoned by TCN. I don't want to handle it in a palliative form by throwing a couple of millions into it. Let's tackle it. Let's make sure that. I mean, I'm looking forward to a situation where you look at it as a big problem and the most important problem you have in this power sector, and put more money there. Definitely, I'm very sure $15 million will not by the end of this year, will not be able to see significant sign in solving that problem.
Particularly like listening to your presentations each time you come here, because you appear to have good knowledge and insight into your assignment. I'm also delighted that you have a very proactive team, because I've interacted with some of your team members. They also have keyed into your vision. So there are certain challenges, basic challenges that have been elucidated by my colleagues, but I'm concerned about what His Excellency Senator Goji stated, with particular reference to Asokoro. Asokoro is pathetic. I have friends in Lifecam, Apo, even Lugbe. They enjoy steady power supply. So I don't know what's happening to Asokoro. That's one. And I was also going to speak about the issue of solar street lights. Maybe if we have a breakdown, for instance, I need to know, out of this 24 billion that's going to be spent on solar street lights, how many are coming to my senatorial district? Because federal highways also crisscross from my senatorial district into Senator Lalon's place. But I want you to start with my senatorial district before you get to Senator Lalong, please. So, if you can. No, and he doesn't have the right of reply here. So, so please, we want to see that you bring the issue of power to a close during your tenure, if possible. Because from the first day you appeared for screening, you showed capacity and knowledge of the area. So, but they say that if you say there is a function in the family, the dog insists that he must see a bone on the ground to believe that there's something. So concretize most of those plans, because nobody ever gets rewarded for intention, but for results achieved. And I know you have a good team. If you challenge them, you can achieve this. So thank you.
Thank you.
Bayelsa State has been in darkness for several months. The state governor has, on his own, spent enormous sums of money to restore light. Even if light is fully restored, the rate of vandalism in the state, most especially from that Hausa axis in River State, has been a problem to us, a very big challenge, because it comes up from time to time. What arrangement is our ministry doing to compensate the state for those lump sums of money they use to restoring light to the state? That apart, you mentioned you wanted 100 billion naira for rural electrification, but we are giving just 30 billion thereabout. The one we passed for this budget last year, 2024, I, as a senator, have not expressed anything, I've not seen anything, I've not benefited anything from it. Our community, some of our communities actually in rural areas where the national grid couldn't be extended to. And for places like that, don't you think that alternative source of energy like this type, the mini grids, are better off for us? And if you are to do that, don't you think that you have to start from those of us who can testify for the efficiency of your job and approve your budget? I don't have any power in my community, in Bayelsa State. For the 2024 budget, nothing is seen. So what arrangement do you have for areas like that so that they can also have a taste of the national cake? Thank you very much.
I'm just following up the last speaker. There is a problem in Plateau. I had complained formally, informally. This is the first time I'm bringing this matter formally. Honorable Minister, you are aware. TCN, you are aware. To a point where I was deeply involved. I deployed a lot of money. In Plateau State, 70% of the population are without light. That aspect, 2 senatorial districts are without power. And that is we're talking about agriculture. The areas that was producing heavy rice. Even milling, ordinary milling, you can't do milling. I have tried, the last time I approached this matter. And I said, TCM, you were there. And you said BP had approached, they had finished, in 2 weeks' time, I will see something. It's not more than 2 weeks now, before Christmas. I was commending you one day. Press carried it. I said, yes. Yes, as part of this government, I will always commend you. I said, yes, there is improvement. We enjoyed Christmas with that. Somebody had to raise and say, if that's the case, there's going to be protests in one of the local governments. We saw you commending, and nothing is happening in your place. Please, I want you to cover this ship. If this is processed in Makeri, particularly, go and link up the Makeri. Let us have power in 2 senatorial districts. There's always been 1 senatorial district in Plateau State. The other 2 are not working. So we don't want to make a case. We are commending you and somebody is writing DG campaign. Look at your place, no power. Nothing is happening in that place. This is the first time I heard that I had to bring this matter up. I know why I brought it up. You are aware, TCN is aware of this matter. So that next time you come before the Senate, I will not be bringing it up again. Of course, the repercussions will be a different one. We will take a political solution. You know what political solution means. So I'm saying this so that as we are making cover, we are making appeal for increase all over the country. There are areas too that are looking for, even like somebody, my friend will always say, when we are struggling against epileptic supply, he said, give me the epileptic first before I struggle for the stable. So in my case, I have not seen even the power, to talk less of epileptic. So please consider this as a very serious complaint coming from me. Thank you very much.
Despite the fact that last year we witnessed a lot of power showdown, but this year we hope it will improve. So we have to work on it. My main complaint, particularly from my senatorial district in Osun East, is Ife South. That's Ifetedo and Garajaroda, those are the main towns. They have been under darkness for long. About 4 years ago, I wrote this year. He said there was no money. This year, you are there now.
to 9th and 10th Senate to roll out. I want these people to have light. It's either you are connecting them from Ibadan through Garage or from Ondo to the border of Osun and Ondo. That's a winner. Yes. Please.
Thank you. Minister, the reason why I didn't want him to speak is that I thought that it will start Kirichi war again.
And others not mentioned in general. The first thing I want to mention here, even though I'm asking one or two of my colleagues to talk here, is the issue of vandalization of the power assets. Like I mentioned that the first step we need to take is to sensitize our people more. We're going to full advocacy to orientate our people on the need to jointly and jealously protect these national assets. But the damage to one is a damage to all, especially the transmission assets. They are so interlinked, they are so interconnected and interwoven that damage in one section of the country can affect the entire country. So we start from the people, and we have good amount for this advocacy, reorientation and re-education. Be that as it may, the more important step is the cooperation and collaboration with the security agencies, especially from the Office of the National Security Advisor. There's no amount of money we can put in the budgets of the Ministry of Power or TCN that can actually solve this problem from the TCN perspective. Even repairing or restoring these damaged assets were not budgeted. They were all emergency expenditure. And we know how vast the landmass in Nigeria is. It's over 1 million square kilometers from east to west, from north to south. And we are talking about 23,000 kilometers of high voltage power lines. Like I mentioned, hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of hundreds of substations, transformers and all that. How do you man this from an electricity agency outfit, not a security agency outfit? They are not even experts in asset protection. All you can do is automation, which can actually provide alerts and triggers. But physically combating this or stopping them is not what TCN or anybody Ministry of Power can do. I agree with the idea of the command and control center. It can only alert and trigger us in terms of automation as the vandals approach, as the attempts are being gathered. But these are organized criminals. Let me blow your mind. On the Kaduna-Shirodo-Mando line that is still unfixed, we first tried, we attempted to fix it by ourselves. Our engineers were chased. Armed weapons. Am I lying? Weapons. Sophisticated weapons. And we have called on the security agencies, the land soldiers, the army, the navy, the air force, and all that. The first 2 months, it was war. Engineer Ajiboye, it's like you are fighting a civil war. They had to attack these bandits through the air to chase them. As I'm talking to you, they have not fixed it. It's as bad as that. That's even trying to fix it. In demolishing these assets, they are not demolished physically by hand using cutlass or using axe. No. They lay landmines and they blow it up with dynamite. About 9 towers were falling down on this Shiroro Mando Kaduna line. 9. And you know how tall each of these towers are. Some going into almost 100 meters, 80 meters, 60 meters. By the time they bring these towers down, how do you fix it? And they are not normal ground again. A lot of them are even in the mods. So to even do the civil work is major work. If it is just to erect the towers, probably we say, oh, it's a bit small. But you need to do the civil work first. So in terms of security, sincerely, I cannot lie to you. It is not what any power agency can offer. It's not. It has to be with our security, which is why we are working with the National Security Advisors and collaboration of all security agencies, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Civil Defense, that's even with the Ministry of Interior too. So it's a joint task force. So the budget cannot even domicile in TCN. Otherwise, it will even overpower our core activities with these non-core activities. Security is non-core to TCN and should not overpower our core activities. Fine, we can have budget for automation, command and control center, where we detect when they're about to attack these installations. But combating them, sincerely, is not our job. They will work with the people in charge. Then, the local production of streetlights is like you took it out of my mouth anyway. What we are trying to do, because one of our major focus in the power sector is promote local content. The amount of influence that the exchange rate has been having on the cost of power equipment is just too much. Amounts that could buy 3-4 transformers 2-3 years ago can hardly buy one now because of exchange rates. But if these things are produced locally, you are not only reducing the impact of foreign exchange, you are also promoting local skills in terms of implementation of these power sector activities. So we have a number of companies now that have decided to come down here and do local production of street lighting equipment. The poles, the lighting themselves, the cables are here locally, and they're also training our local personnel to do the installation. So this, as a matter of policy, I've discussed with the MD of REA, Engineer Abba Aliu, that we are not importing any of this. It will reduce the amount of spend. Then secondly, it will cut down the transaction cycle time. Before you open from M, before you apply for FS allocation from A, before you do the importation, you do the clearing, bill of lading and all that. It takes time. And His Excellency has mentioned the issue of budget implementation, timing. The process has to be streamlined through patronage of local producers and assemblers. A lot of them start from assembly. They come with a CKD, completely knocked down parts, or SKD, semi-knockout parts and all. But some have started having local content production here, especially from the batteries. We have lithium deposit here. So battery production too is being localized. So we want to achieve a very great proportion of local content in our procurement this year. Then TCN intervention. Thank you for raising it. That amount is a patchy sum, 25 billion, compared to what is required to complete all these projects. But I always say that half bread, most times, is better than none. We have over 100 projects. For us to complete this project, we've done the estimate. How much is it? For the knowledge of this committee, the total amount required is 2.779 trillion naira to finish 129 projects. Substation projects 67, lines project 51, and rehabilitation and reinforcement of brownfield stations 11 total of 129 outstanding uncompleted projects. We require 2.8 trillion. If I ask for 2.8 trillion in this committee meeting today, I will look like a comedian, as if I'm insensitive to what is happening in the country. We know we don't have such money, but we must start somewhere, which is why we said 1 naira has not budgeted or appropriated to TCN, not a single naira. They expect them to spend from IGR. We now say, okay, if you cannot allocate anything to TCN, let us give them 25 billion. If it is 5, I'm able to complete. Because the most sensitive thing about power project is it is not 100%. You cannot energize it. And once you don't energize it, they will loot, they will vandalize already installed items. We have projects that are 95, 96, 97% completed. If it is 2 billion, if it is 3 billion that is left or required, I can do 5 or 6. I will spend 20 or 25. We'll take the 6 and to start supply power to our people. That's why we put that purchase of 25 billion. But, I mean, from your magnanimity, you can help us increase it by talking to the Chairman Appropriation Committee of the Senate. We don't mind. We know you are passionate about this project too. So TCM will present this. That's TCM intervention. Asokoro power supply. Your Excellency and distinguished Senator, I agree with you. I've received complaints on Asokoro, even from the state, from the villa. And we have written to the Senate Committee Chairman on Power and Appropriation of what is even required to fix the villa supply points, which has not been included in our budgets. Yeah, I'm sure you will get the letter if it can be included in the budget. It's not too late. So the entire Asokoro will be looked at. We are going to invite AEDC. Why Asokoro is having that? And now they have about 60-65% supply, when they should be having about 80-90, based on other band A. The other areas of band A enjoy better supply of light. So we will specifically look into this and ensure that it is rectified. We know the impact. 90% of our community members live in Asokoro. So why are we not ready to give you good supply? Then, level of budget release experience this year. Sir, you distinguished, sir, you asked us to comment on the level of fund release. I cannot lie to you, and I won't want to be economical with the truth. The level of release has not been encouraging, has not been impressive, and has not really encouraged good budget achievement. And it's two things. I don't want to believe it's due to paucity of funds. The finance ministers from time to time has confirmed to us that there is money, that there is fund. But number one is the change in the process of release, with the policy, which has now been centralized. Before, funds used to be released from the ministry's level. And I believe that all the directors of finance in all ministries, agencies, and parastatals, they are staff of the Accountant General of the Federation. So if they have, why would they have the confidence for them to allow them to make payments at the ministry level? Now they said all payment must be passed to the centralized system of the AGF. And that has led to a lot of clock, delays, queues, and has affected prompt release of funds. And that has impacted our budget achievement. I can't lie to you. So whatever the Senate committee can do from your end to ensure that this process is looked at again and funds are being released promptly for us to achieve better budget achievement this year. Vandalization in Bayelsa, I mean, distinguished, you're the second member that will raise the issue of vandalization. We were on top of this. For about 4 months, Bayelsa was in darkness. Not for want of transmission power assets, but due to local vandalization of these assets, severally. I know that TCN has fixed them like 2-3 times. They keep repeating the vandalization. Like I mentioned to you, there's a limit to the amount of money TCN can spend in repairing or restoring this. They are not budgeted for. They are for about 3-4 months, Amount spent on vandalization restoration was about 9.2 billion. Unbudgeted. So this kind of thing leads to frustration, which is why the state government had to also come in and spend some money. While I cannot guarantee that, okay, TCN will compensate the state government, one way of saying that we will jointly, collaboratively, and cooperatively prevent further vandalization of those things, now that the light is up. And for the communities where I believe a lot of revenues are generated that are still in darkness, I've just spoken to the MD of Rural Electrification Agency, our Director, Rural Access Department, RRD, Federal Ministry of Power, to prioritize those communities in Bayelsa. Even if we cannot do grid extension immediately, we can provide alternative power supply, which is through renewable energy. Mini grid can be erected in them within 3 months. By the time we give them a 200 kilowatts of mini grids in 2, 3, 4 locations, the entire cities will be lighted up. So we have taken it as a matter of urgency now to ensure that we extend our mini grid to it and look at a way of extending the grid connection to those areas. Plateau State, sir, I think we have taken note. Distinguished Senator, former minister, former governor, and former minister too, has mentioned this several times. And I believe TCN will look into those 2 senatorial districts in Plateau State and ensure that that's Makere, Panshin, yes. Then Ife South, which is the Garage Olode and Ife Dedo, we will look into it. We'll ensure we extend supply. It can even come from Oshobo via Elisha. So if I do, yes, it can come from there. You may see yes. We'll see what we can do. Because Osun State is also key to us. Like the senator just confirmed, just 2 days ago that we approved the mobile substation to be taken to Ilaro that will supply Ure, Rabiji, Otaibaji, and the likes around that Osun West senatorial constituency. We will not relent until we fix light in every location. And to round up, sir, before I give MDRA and MDTCN maybe 2 minutes to talk, is the issue of transformer. It is true. What I've noticed that this thing doesn't go down evenly to all local governments, the way it's been practiced in the past. But if you notice what we have done here, even though the amount has been cut down, we've made it what they call more like a provision. We have not even listed the locations. All we need to do is to buy the number of transformers these are what can afford, and distribute it evenly into local governments and wards, so that every House of Rep member, honorable, every distinguished senator will have a number of transformers they can actually take to their constituency, so that everybody feels the impact of these transformers procurement. So what we have in there is omnibus provision. Omnibus, so that you actually go down, not specific areas of local government. Thank you very much. How about just local government?
I'm sorry. Honorable Minister, we know that you have to go.